We are facing a real danger as a country. Look at, I can speak to you as a former Minister of Security. Look at what's going on in MANDERA. How? An independent country like this that's supposed to have an infrastructure in place and so on. What is that going on there?
Ladies and gentlemen, the clip that we have begun with, that is a snippet of the former Cabinet Secretary of Interior in the Republic of Kenya, Fred Matiangi, speaking today at a rally that was hosted by Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka. Matiangi took to the stand and spoke about the JUBALAND invasion in Kenya. And let me tell you why, the reason why Matiangi's speech took the day. Kalonzo Musyoka today organized an event where most of the opposition leaders were in attendance. But his speech, the speech provided by Fred Matiangi, proved to many that the Kenyan politics, mostly in the opposition, can change the trajectory in the few coming days. And most Kenyans are going to fall behind Fred Matiangi due to his notion and narratives of politics. Matiangi is a man that knows how to strategize and play his cards when it comes to dealing with the current regime of President William Ruto. And if you listen to him carefully, you realize that the key point in his agenda today was the second liberation, or let me say, the second independence of the Republic of Kenya, which he mostly pointed out that foreign forces and foreign militias have invaded the Republic of Kenya and have taken Kenya into custody. He says that right now, the current government is conniving with the colonizers, like back then in the days during the British rule in the country. We had the collaborators. Now, Matiangi calls President William Ruto a collaborator with terrorists. Now, how does this play out? Now, remember, Matiangi, having served as the Cabinet Secretary of Interior in the previous regime under the former President Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta, has knowledge of how security matters work, and he provides insights in what is actually happening with the Jubaland invasion in Mandera. Now, during his tenure, while he served as the Cabinet Secretary of Interior, Matiangi formed a special task force which was called, and actually it exists now, the Special Operations Group, the SOG, a group that is currently one of the most elite groups that we have in the Kenyan military on matters to deal with terrorists. And more so, this group that was formed by Matiangi, its role was to safeguard the territorial borders of the Republic of Kenya, to prevent the invasion of militia groups, more so the Al-Shabaab, from the Somalian border. That is the group that Matiangi formed. And once he formed that group, the group was able to curb a lot of terror attacks in the country. This group was picked from the Kenyan Special Forces, from the Kenyan paramilitary groups, and from the Kenyan Defense Forces. So it was a group that was given every equipment, and it actually exists. Right now, it serves mostly within the area of Boni Forest. I think lately you have seen videos of the SOG group going viral, and mostly Ruto has taken credit of this group. But the person that brought this group to life and formed the task force is Fred Matiangi during his tenure as the Cabinet Secretary of Interior. Then when the country mostly needed a special task force to deal with the then rising cases of terror attacks in the Republic of Kenya. Apart from that, Matiangi also formed a special anti-theft group, which was referred to as the SWAT. Mostly, It was based in the Nairobi CBD, and it comprised of female officers trained specifically to deal with theft in the Nairobi CBD. You can actually see what is actually happening right now in the CBD. When Ruto took power, he disbanded the SWAT team made of women that Matiangi formed to deal with theft in Nairobi County. More so, those soldiers or those police officers that were placed in the Nairobi CBD, Ruto sent them in the IT mission. And that is why the cases of insecurity in Nairobi have become so rampant. Now, allow me to tell you why Matiangi's statement means a lot for William Ruto. He either reacts to this statement by deploying the KDF, or he will be answerable to the international communities, and more so, the United States of America. I remind you that President William Ruto is expected to address the United Nations General Assembly within the next 2 days, because it is actually happening in the New York City at the headquarters of UN in New York City in America. So Ruto is flying to the United States. Now, one thing, Matiangi knows more about the territorial borders than any other person, because the man had reviewed everything on how to deal with militia groups in the country. Now, the invasion of Jubaland forces in Kenya, as he says, it poses a threat that now this country needs again to organize itself to fight for its independence, because currently terror groups are taking over the country. Now, let's look at it in this perception. Rumor has it that apart from Matiangi being backed by Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta for the 2027 presidential ticket, Matiangi is also being funded by the United States. Remember, before Matiangi came back into the country to work, to campaign, he used to work at the World Bank in the United States. And immediately Matiangi came back into the country and made his first tour and his homecoming, he returned to the US. And that is when he came back. And recently, when Gachagua left for the US, Matiangi followed him to the United States. So rumor has it that Matiangi is the preferred candidate to take over power in 2027 by the United States. Now, let me tell you why the United States has to act on this intel. Remember, the Somalian border right now is so porous due to the invasion of the Jubaland forces. Now, it's not only the Jubaland forces that are coming in. Even the Al-Shabaab militias are also coming in. And due to the waving away of the ID requirement, the Al-Shabaab militias can actually right now acquire the citizenship of Kenya. Now, acquiring the citizenship of Kenya, somebody can go ahead to either travel through Kenya as a citizen of the Republic of Kenya, go to the United States with ill intent. Remember, Al-Shabaab is linked to Al-Qaeda, and Americans' worst enemy is Al-Qaeda. So if somebody, because of Ruto not acknowledging the threat that we have currently in the country of the invasion of foreign forces, somebody goes and performs a terror attack in the United States. Remember, the war currently happening in the Gaza Strip, the Palestinians and the Israelites. Also, these people are traveling to Somalia. The Hamas group, some of them are traveling to Somalia. And through the Kenyan border, they can access Kenya. And if they can access Kenya and acquire citizenship of the Republic of Kenya, these people, as the Hamas group also being named as a terror group, can also launch a terror attack on any Israel facility in the Republic of Kenya, or can even acquire a passport to travel to Israel as a Kenyan citizen and go there and perform terror attacks. So the international communities have to come in. And that is why Matiangi's speech as a candidate rumored to be funded by the United States really means a lot. My good people, do you think that now, since the international forces or the international community is currently now hiring the Republic of Kenya due to what is going on, more so the invasion of Jubaland forces, the president deals with Al-Shabaab, the president rumored deals with RSF militia in Sudan, that the president now will have to act and kick the Jubaland forces out of Mandera. Because as we know, the government of the Republic of Kenya has denied completely that there are presence of a militia group that has invaded the territorial integrity of the Republic of Kenya. Ladies and gentlemen, that is what I had for you. But one thing is for sure. You have now to believe that Matiangi is rising to the challenge. And if people like Kalonzo Musyoka don't actually try to go the Matiangi way, Matiangi is actually going to take it home as the preferred presidential candidate for the opposition come the year 2027. Leave a comment on the comment section, and please don't you leave without subscribing to our YouTube channel for more news and more stories. This is the Kenyan Daily Report. Subscribe.